What's up everyone, OJ here. Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about Astral Chain on the Nintendo Switch. So currently the Nintendo Treehouse team is showing off gameplay of various different games that were revealed to have more information at E3 and brand new games. Now, one of the previously revealed games back in February was Astral Chain. This is a action RPG type of game from the acclaimed developers over there at Platinum Games. You may know them from making games such as Bayonetta 1, Bayonetta 2, Mad World, Anarchy Reigns, and so much more. They have a long pedigree of making amazing games, and I'll be honest here guys, Astral Chain might be their best game ever made from what we've seen here, at least until Bayonetta 3 comes out. But that's another video, another discussion for another day once we see Bayonetta 3. But Astral Chain is really stacking up to be Platinum Games' best game, even potentially better than Nier, which launched on the PlayStation 4. So let's go ahead and get into some of these details shown off at the Nintendo Treehouse Live. Now, they do have another segment, which I will be doing another video on when they show a little bit more of the depth of gameplay. But from what I've seen so far and a little bit of other information here, Astral Chain is looking absolutely incredible. This is one of the best looking Platinum Games titles that I have ever seen from a graphical and gameplay standpoint. So one of the cool things that I do want to point out with Astral Chain on the Nintendo Switch is the custom characters. A lot of you guys were asking like, hey, wait a minute, these guys kind of look kind of generic-y. Can you customize them? And yes, you can. You can customize their skin color, eyes, hair, all of that stuff. So if you want to make a brother cop, then you can definitely do so, or Hispanic, or whatever type of skin color that you want to make, you can do that. Absolutely love that they have some customization options in there. Now, another thing that I do like about the game, which they talked about on Treehouse Live, is the motorcycle aesthetic. Gives me a real Tron kind of Knight Rider, futuristic police fighting force type of feel to it. Absolutely love that about the game, and they do have shooting segments in those motorcycle parts. Now, another thing as well is the ranking system that is returning from games like Bayonetta, for example, to where after you complete a certain segment where there's action and you're fighting, you do get a rank, and based on your rank, you will get extra rewards or bonuses. So it definitely gives you incentive to keep on fighting and fight well as well, or at least do some other cool things that haven't been in other Platinum games before. This is probably one of the most interesting Platinum Games titles when it comes to a gameplay standpoint. Now, what you do in this game is you start out at the Neuron Police headquarters, and in this headquarters, you can actually train up your Legion, and you learn more information about the Chimera, which is the enemies in this game. And basically, with the Legions, you kind of learn basics in terms of how they operate. They do have an energy bar, and that energy bar will deplete. Once it does, the Legion does just disappear, like vanishes. So you have to make sure that you conserve your energy. Now, with the Legion, which is your attacking in this game in terms of your robot that you have, you don't actually control them yourself. They fight on their own, and then you can prompt them to do certain dual attacks and things like that. But you can manipulate where they move across the field. Now, the one thing that makes this game kind of different from what we've seen from any other Platinum games is a thing called the Iris. And the Iris is interesting because it reminds me of like the detective eye from Batman Arkham City with that. So we'll get into a little bit more in terms of how you use it. But basically, if you don't have this Iris, you can't see Legions, you can't see the Chimera, like you can't see what's going on. So they all have this special enhancement in order for them to see it. Now, the cool thing about Legions, what makes them ridiculously amazing and what makes the combat in this game amazing is the combination of melee and gun attacks and the variety of different layouts that you can have, or loadouts that you can have, which we'll talk a little bit more as well. So one thing that you can do in the Neuron Police headquarters, you can have items, you can have different stores where you can purchase different things. There's different clothing with armor and equipment which affect your stats. So definitely that RPG influence is being put into this game, which I absolutely love. The structure of this game, after you're loaded up on equipment and everything that you need, is mission based. So you will head into missions one by one, then go into different open-ended areas in order to complete tasks and investigate. So it's pretty cool, and I love that. But we need to get more into what you're actually fighting against. So there are these things called red matter out in the world, and you go out as a police force and you have to explore and do detective work on the red matter left behind by the Chimera. There's all these different types of attacks, and you're sent there to investigate what happened. Now, the one thing about it is that you can use the Legion in order to play back different things that happen. So there are some things like, let's say, an attack on a building and all of that, and you use your Iris and your Legion in order to investigate those and see what you can do to replay the events. So it's actually really cool and futuristic. In addition to that, you can use the Legion to find different items and collect, and you can use those collection points from the red matter and all that to upgrade your Legion and to buy different things. So I absolutely love that as well. I love the thick RPG elements, the thick like depth that they're building into the game, and they've talked about that quite a number of times, being able to build a lot of depth into the game and more content, which we haven't quite seen yet, which will be revealed at some point, and some of it will probably stay hidden. Now, one of the coolest parts in the footage and what we learned about this is that this game is not linear. You don't just go straight forward and that's it. There's actually secret areas, nooks and crannies where there's going to be toilets or outhouses. Now, if you go to these outhouses, you can collect some special rewards. They didn't exactly say what you'll get, but if you get 100% of the red matter and collecting everything, there's definitely going to be some nice bonuses and some cool stuff that's going to happen to you. So you want to make sure that you collect all the red matter with your Legion, and also find all of the toilets out there so you can get yourself something special. So pretty cool there. Now let's talk a little bit more about some of the combat and some of the modes that are going to be in the game when it comes to your combat in general. Now, if you fight enemies normally, you have a dodge attack. We've seen that before. You have various different guns, and you have different weapons that you can employ on modes. So with different Legions that you can collect, you have 5 different ones, and they each have 3 different modes. So that gives you 15 total playstyles that they let us know about, which is a lot of variety, from the gun mode to the baton or dual sword mode, and then other weapons as well. So which is awesome to hear about that. Now, there is different strategic things that you can do in terms of positioning on the battlefield. For example, if you attack enemies from behind, they actually take more damage. So you'll see that the damage number indicator actually pops up a different color than what you normally see. So you definitely want to position yourself and get into the range to where you're going to be able to do more damage, but you have to be very careful. I can already see that the enemies in this game are already fierce and they attack you, and it's definitely not going to be a cakewalk. So you have to make sure that you use your dodge effectively. You have to make sure that you're using your Legion effectively in order to get the upper hand on your enemies, and of course having the right combinations in terms of mode and what Legion that you're using. But you are kind of weak at the beginning of the game because that's what they showed off. So as you collect red matter and get your upgrades and all that, you'll find more powerful Legions, you'll get better things, you'll get better, faster, stronger, all of that good stuff. So I do love that you are going to be able to do that. So you can replay missions that you did bad on. You get hit a lot of times, that's obviously going to be an issue. Go back, replay those, get better rewards, upgrade your Legion, and all of that. So absolutely amazing. But one of the unique things about this game that they talked about is that it almost has like a Xenoblade Chronicles 2-ish aesthetic to it, because you're connected by chain or by a bond to the Legion. And the reason why that you have the power as a normal human to fight against and get hit by these incredibly big and huge monsters and not die on impact is because the Legion gives you that resistance to those enemies, the Chimera. They give you that resistance. They buff your own natural abilities. So it's almost like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in its sense. Without that Legion giving you that, you would not be able to fight against them and have this type of resistance to the red matter and all the pollution that's going on in the world because of the Chimera. Now remember guys, the Chimera, that's pretty much the name of the overall enemies that you're going to be fighting, and the Chimera in this game take multiple different forms. So you will have a variety of different enemies to fight, all varying in levels in terms of what you can do. Now once again guys, This game really different when it comes down to it because you can investigate and you can use that detective eye or the iris in order to find different things and find clues, and then you actually have to go out there and explore and really just investigate. And that's what makes this game so different from what we've seen before from the pure action games that Platinum Games usually make. So to me, looking at all the different things that I went over here, look at the variety of gameplay, what they're doing here, the combat, how smooth it is, everything that they have going on here, this really looks like it's one of the most varied and best games that Platinum Games has ever done. So I'm looking forward to seeing more combat, seeing more footage. They did talk about how they are going to show off more at the treehouse, so I'll have another video talking about that once we see that and gathering all the information and facts. So what do you guys think so far of Astral Chain? Remember, this game is coming out August 30th, looking absolutely amazing. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future, and subscribe to PlayerEssence for this RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.